Hey guys, it's Vivian 2 p.m. and I've decided to use my camera again because sometimes it works better. So today I'm just going to kind of tell you about the setup of your cage and kind of like where you should put things. So the cage right now for me is in this corner of my room because it's far away from the window, so there'll be no sunlight, and it's also low to the ground, so there'll be little drafts. And so I like it on the ground because there's no drafts that can give your gerbils colds, and my bed right here kind of shades it from the sun's like rays, which could make the cage overheat. So when I open it, if you guys watch like my gerbil tour, cage tour, you'll notice that everything's a bit different because I just recently cleaned out their cage. But there's like a kind of general standard that most people follow when setting up a gerbil's cage. So I'll just tell you the usual like generic setup. So usually the house is in one corner, and my house is a bit big. Yours can be quite a bit smaller, but it's usually in one of the corners to give them greater security. And I don't know if you guys want to do this, but if you see that there's a lot of bedding covering up the entrances, it's so that they feel more secure while they sleep, if they choose to sleep in here, which I think they are because they're taking the hay inside to nest. And usually when they do that, it means they're sleeping in there. So they're sleeping in here now. And so you just might want to cover up your house's like entryways. See? So that it feels more like a burrow for them. Then usually the wheel is in a corner. Mine is kind of not in a corner because it falls over a lot and scratches the plastic. You probably won't have to deal with this if you have an aquarium, but I do it a little farther away from the corners so that it probably won't fall over, and then it's covered at the axle or at the leg parts with bedding. But if you notice, it still spins fine, so it's covered a good amount that it won't fall over and scratch my walls. Because, I don't know, yeah, you can kind of see it here that it's just been scratching it up. So, that's not desirable. And then there's usually not the cereal box here, but my gerbils don't like sleeping in the same place for a long, like an extended period of time. So I have to give them two nesting places so that they constantly feel secure. And they were sleeping in here originally, but I think that they don't like sleeping in it anymore because if you notice at the bottom, it's been pretty chewed up. So I think that's why they don't like sleeping in here anymore. So usually this corner would be empty, and this is where you could put a food bowl, or this might be where they go to the bathroom. So a food bowl would usually go in this corner or this corner if your house and your wheel are taking up these. It's just three of the corners are usually taken up by either a food bowl, a wheel, or a house. So I usually put the wheel and the house in the back, or the house is sometimes in here, so that it's still kind of an open space where you could see everything. And water bottles don't really matter where they go. I usually put mine here, but I wanted to mix it up a bit so that they don't get bored of the layout. So now mine is here. And then here is where I put my hay. I usually don't put the hay here. I usually have another corner that I put it. But in my last gerbil video and this one, I've started putting the hay here. But they'll usually go to the bathroom in one of the corners. I think mine go to the bathroom here, so it's pretty good. Either that or they go in the house, but they probably cleared all the bedding out so that they can sleep in there and replaced it with new bedding. And if you notice, my gerbil is eating food here, and I put the food bowl up here because it saves space, and it's also high enough that they won't bury it, and most gerbils do bury their food, but for me it's a bit obnoxious because I don't have much time to refill their bowls and everything in the mornings, because I have to go out to the bus at like 6:30 or like 6:40, somewhere around there. So I'd like to just be able to look down and check whether or not there's food. So here, if they don't bury it, I can just look down and you can just tell whether or not there's food. So that's really convenient for me. But if you're not in high school, or like, probably you don't even have to do this if you're in college, because like I know my brother who's in college, he just scheduled his classes so he can get up at like 10. But if you have to wake up early in the morning, then I would recommend putting your food bowl on like the roof part of the house. So that's basically all the things that you need in your thing, and the kind of setup that you should put the cage in, and then the things inside the cage, and just do it in one of these. Most of you guys have something like this. This is way too small for even one gerbil, but it's from my old gerbil when I didn't know anything about how to take care of them. So yeah, you guys probably have these aquariums, and I may or may not do a segment on how to clean out the cage. I'll be using this one because it's a lot easier to clean out than this huge bin. So you can look forward to that if I decide to. So yeah, bye guys.